responsibility. If you do it, even if because you chose to do those drugs, you chose to have these behaviors, and that is what is causing a lot of the issues. There isn't a level of responsibility that someone has to say, you know what? Yep, I did that. I screwed that up. I'm I don't know how I'll ever live through this. It's always the people that do it turn into the victims, as opposed to the victims being avenged or whatever. Avenged is a very strong word, but I don't mean it in the
Mm-hmm.
form of,
Mm-hmm.
like, pitchforks and flames and stuff like that. I just mean it's the victim who died who is the victim. And
I
then I do
right.
understand that sometimes mental health
Mm-hmm.
issues are involved, and I do understand that, there's not great mental health, that all people get sent home who are just batty as can be. And,
Well, right.
you know,
Well, I mean, you can look at the Jodi Arias case, for example. She's not mentally ill. She's a brat.
right.
She wanted to get her way. She killed her man because she didn't get her way. And if I can't have you, you're done. I'm going to kill you. And then she thinks she's going to get away with, because she's so little. Oh, I'm not guilty.
Right.
Okay, that kind of case is pretty much a shut door case. Okay, you did it. Goodbye. Um, then there are mental health cases where somebody is totally messed up and um, they need to be not in a prison, but I want to say, I guess you call it the psych ward, a jail where it's a psych ward, and because they need mental health and monitoring heavily. And
Yes,
then I mean, we have the Holly Bobo case. Do you remember that one?
I do.
And and it still is ongoing, where they're trying to weed out information. Unfortunately, with some meth heads, there's a form of entitlement with some of the kids.
Yeah.
And the kids feel like, I can grab somebody off the street, I can hurt them, rape them, but oh gosh, she saw us, so I will have to kill her. And oh, she didn't die, so I'll just kill her another way, So after all the brutality, we're gonna shoot her. Wow. This is a person who belongs in prison for the rest of their life because they cannot be socially mixed with the rest of us.
Right.
And, and that's not an opinion. That's the way the criminal justice system is. But unfortunately, a lot of these guys are still hanging on like the little kitty cat on the wall of, well, I really didn't do anything. I'm not the one who shot her, or I only raped her, but I didn't kill her. Uh huh.
Exactly, right?
It,
No,
it,
I
it's
was
it.
not I was not the
Mhm.
one. Well, you were there, you were a participant. You're guilty of both.
You are co-conspirator,
Yes.
you are plotting, you are planning. I mean, something none of us would do, most of us would not do. It just ain't happening. But again, a lot of them only remember bits and pieces, and then again, some of them only remember what's convenient. And so we're in a real catch-22 with these crimes. And then you have people like the Casey Anthony case that I worked on, and it was a whole, it was like icing with manure. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Um, when I came on board, I mean, do you want me to tell you the story, or
Well,
would your fans like to? You tell
I'm
me where you want to head.
I do want to, but we are going to break in just 1 minute, and I know that this is going to
Okay.
not be a 1 minute conversation topic because
Mm.
you were very involved with that, and the country was, everyone was, because I don't think that anyone really doubted what happened, long
There
term.
was there was a lot more to it than people really knew, and I
Yeah.
and I don't think it was written about, but supposition, lots of supposition.
Yes. Well, I'll
So
tell you, we've got about um 20 seconds left, and I do want to get into that because first, before we go, were you involved in that from the beginning?
no, no.
Okay. So
Hmm.
we will pick that up when we get here, and this is going to be a 3 minute break, everybody. So we'll see you on the flip side.
listening to WPHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
And we are back with Ginette Lucas here on Paranormal Experienced Radio. I'm Kat Hobson, your host. And Ginette, we were talking about the Kaylee Anthony case and your involvement with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just tell you what happened. On any case, basically someone calls me, whether it's the family, the police, or community member. So I had a gentleman call me, and Luke Phillips, Luke Phillips, and he had called my father and said, "Oh, I have this missing person case," and it was like, I think, 2 months into the case, which I didn't know because I'm in the Richmond area and they don't cover a lot of casework. They're more isolated to locale and the local news, the local events, that kind of thing. And it was really uncanny. So I didn't know anything about it. And plus, at the time, I had little kids. And so he said, "I'd like you to find this missing little girl." And I was like, "Geez, I'm really busy." And so I told him a location. And I mean, it's the same exact location I'd given him in August, same exact location I'd given him in October. And he just didn't want to believe it. I said, "She's deceased. And I think she's, and I mentioned the location. And it was very frustrating for me because I just gave the information, and then he had said he was working with the PI with the family, and they sort of disappeared and had me work on other cases for fun. And August came along, and they said, "So where is she?" I said, "I don't get away from this one spot." And then behind the scenes, they were saying I said a bunch of stuff I never said. So they were manipulating the media to do what they wanted. And when I say they, I don't know if it was both of them or just the PI who wasn't really a PI, because I'm a former PI. I was sort of bored with being just a psychic. So I went out and I got my private investigator's license and became a private investigator. I wanted to learn what it's like to be on the inside. And I mean, yes, I'm the psychic inside. Now I'm the PI inside, and I'm learning the ins and outs. And I belonged to the Private Investigators Association, and you hang out and meet and greet a lot of police officers and detectives, and you get inside scoops and directions. And it was awesome. A lot of quick training. And then I meet the PI down there, Dominic Casey, and Dominic was not a PI. He was a PI under the auspices or licenses of the lawyer. So basically, he had no experience as a PI, no training, no nothing. He just walked in the door and said, "Hey, I need to be a PI." And that was it. So the lawyer made him a PI.
I thought you had to train under another PI for so many years.
In Florida, you do. It's the law. They were sort of, what's that word? Massaging the law. Because I have lectured for the Private Investigators Association of Florida to about 400, or if not more, PIs. And when I was down there, they told me the laws, and it was too difficult for me to get in the door because you had to be the fledgling of a cop or a detective or another PI firm. And they were very selective who they had come in. They didn't know me from Adam, from Virginia to Florida. So I just stayed in Virginia and did my casework all over the place, from Virginia remotely to the Caribbean or wherever else I had to do the work, because I used my psychic ability and my dowsing ability. And then I also used what I call incubation of dreams. And you combine it all, and it comes under the umbrella of parapsychology and
Yes.
the paranormal umbrella, and boom, you have your answer. But the problem with the PI down there, he was constantly in the news, and I think that he and the lawyer just loved that attention, and they were getting more casework, and they were getting more of a volcano eruption, and it some people just love chaos. I don't personally love chaos. I mean, when I was done, I was done. I moved on, and it was really hilarious because a lot of production houses called, but they called the wrong telephone number, so they never got my interview. They never, I mean, that's how bad they were at calling me. They called my old telephone number. So the poor lady who had my old telephone
Oh
number,
no. Oh
can you
gosh.
fathom? She got like 2,000 calls. And I felt so badly for her. And I said, I called her and I said, are you getting a bunch of phone calls? And she said, yes. And I said, well, my name is blah, blah. And here's my real number if you want to have people call me. And she goes, no, I just don't get the calls. I've had like 2,000 calls. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I was the one on the news, blah, blah. And she didn't want to deal with it anymore after the first 1,000, but I don't blame her.
I don't blame her either. That's a lot of having to answer and say,
Mm-hmm.
nope, not
Mm-hmm.
me. Nope, not me.
Right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Plus, she was, in Richmond area, and she only had family in Richmond, so she didn't, almost all the calls were coming from all over the U.S. And so that was easy. Anybody out of the area, 804, she wasn't going to pick up. So that was a
So she had a
short and
plan.
sweet. Yeah, oh, she had a plan. Oh, definitely. But on my situation, when I was doing the case, I gave the information, and then finally I said, okay, maybe I don't have it. Just send me a personal belonging. When I say I don't have it, I don't have the information correct. Just send me a belonging, something of Kaylee's, and the grandmother sent me the teddy bear in the mail. And there's so many incorrect information, so much incorrect information on the case. I was never given a map of where they lived or anything like that. Never. I requested a map. I requested the name of the town, the name of the street, nothing. Never given it ever. It drove me crazy because it's like if you wanted to leave my house and go to the high school, how are you going to get there if you don't have directions? You you don't have my zip code? I had nothing. It was awful.
So they were
And I
just,
said,
was it just a test of you? Were they just trying to, what
no,
was
I
the
think they were.
motivation with that?
Well, I think they were using my father, who is pretty famous internationally regarding the dowsing.
Right?
And he didn't do it. He refused to do it. He didn't like working in that field. And he said, "Oh, Ginette, my daughter does it." And they were not aware of the fact that already found 20 missing people. And so Luke wanted me to teach him how